Welcome on behalf of the Southeastern Quilt and Textile Museum and myself, Laura Bosma of Pretty Penny Precuts. We welcome you to a winter session on upcycling sweaters or sweater knitted garments into mittens. Totally usable and a fun project, so we thank you for coming along and stitching with us. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, thank you so much. We appreciate your vote of confidence. Throughout these sessions, be sure to let your friends know. They can do whatever they need to do to register and jump in anytime. And for those of you that have purchased whatever the Southeastern Quilt and Textile Museum comes up with as a price, that remains with you, so you'll be able to refer back to YouTube and lessons at all times. There also is about a 9 or 10 page printable pages of information regarding our session this time. And again, the ladies at the Southeastern Quilt and Textile Museum will make those available to you, whether they're just a click and download from YouTube or part of your registration. So again, thank you, and we hope that you enjoy coming along. So these are examples of mittens and then fingerless mittens that I have made. I have made many a pair, and I love them all. This happens to be a fancy pair where a cuff needed to be added because there was no ribbing with either of these two color sweaters. The rest of them have kind of employed the ribbing that was part of the sweater itself. And by ribbing, I mean this knit purl portion that is stretchier and returns back to normal more than the rest of the things. This is female, this is the size of a male mitten, and then fingerless mittens for myself. Let me try them on for you for just a second so you kind of get an idea. Some of these are not embellished, depends on what I'm doing with them, and some of you just may not like doing any extra embellishment like there is on the aqua ones. So you can decide, you know, what works for you on that. And then here's the fingerless mitten. This was the ribbing for this particular garment, and it did require getting sewn back on because it actually came off of the collar. So where possible, I'm going to use every part of the sweater I possibly can to make something that fits. The beauty of these fingerless mittens is with all of our technology today, you need the sensitivity of the warmth in your touch to make that all work. These are fantastic for working in. So that just kind of gives you an idea. You'll see different pairs as we go along and stitch those together. All right, so let me talk about getting ready. So you need to start with some inventory, and the first thing that you are going to need is a felted sweater. You'll find in your direction sheet this printable page that I have used for years. I did work this up myself to kind of let you know what the whole deal is, what you need to do, what's eating it if there happens to be a pest bite like there is on this one, how to make sure that doesn't happen again, how to wash it, how to wash and dry, whether you've got a top loading machine or a front loading machine. And then, you know, just some care that goes along with it. So again, this sheet is included. What you're looking for is a sweater knit, whether it happens to be a sweater. Sometimes it could be a dress, it could be a skirt that is knitted, and it's of animal fiber. So I have a little cheat sheet here that we used when we did some practice shopping for these. And the fibers that I look for, number one, are wool. Number two is cashmere because I love it. It's so soft. Wool happens to come from a sheep. Cashmere happens to come from a cashmere goat. And then my third fabric that I have my eye out for that is, again, an animal fiber is Angora rabbit. So the Angora comes from a rabbit. You could also add in there alpaca, sometimes even camel. Mohair is just a different kind of sheep, I think. And then silk. So that kind of gives you an idea of what there is. Sorry, mohair is actually an Angora goat. So that gives you an idea. The beauty of using an animal-based fiber, there are two of them. One, it is completely sustainable. You feed the animal, you shear it for its fiber, its wool, whatever kind it happens to be. And we will use the term wool interchangeably, and we could mean any or all of these fibers, or even a blend of these fibers as we go along. And then you source it into yarn, and whether it's done by hand or machine knitted like most things these days, you have a sweater knitted garment that stretches. That's kind of the key. The second part of that is all these animal fibers will shrink. And they're usually not at their most shrunk state when you buy them as a sweater, which is why they are meant to be hand washed or dry cleaned. In our particular case, though, we're going to felt them on purpose. Felting is washing and drying an animal fiber at a high heat with a cold rinse and a high heat dryer. Again, the directions are on this sheet that will come with the materials for the course. And that's what you need. Let me add a little bit to that. I do ask that you use only about a, let me see what I wrote, tablespoon of kind of a pH neutral, you can find that on the container, detergent to wash in. If you like it, you could add maybe a teaspoon of a fabric softener. Some people are opposed to using those, and that would be fine. When you get to the dryer stage, I'm going to encourage you, if you've not done it before, to invest in some dryer balls. And if you read about dryer balls, these happen to be plastic ones, and they came from a big box store. You can also get felted round ones that are actually wool. They will decrease your drying time as they beat it up. You just got to be able to handle the noise. Obviously, the wool ones are quieter than the plastic ones, up to 20% less. So you're using up to 20% less of your utility. So keep that in mind. The beauty of also, and I don't happen to have one here, of the dryer balls that are wool is you could put 1 drop of an essential oil, either lavender or cedar, and both of those are natural pest repellents, and that could also be mixed up in there. So I hope that I was clear about the fact that you will have to prepare your sweater by felting it, making it shrink on purpose before we get started. Now, do I worry if it's been bitten a few times and there are pest holes in it? I don't, because I'm washing it anyway. If you purchase a kit from us, there'll be some available at the museum. There'll be some available through my Etsy shop, prettypennyprecuts.etsy.com. I will have marked them somehow with either an inventory dot or a garage sale dot or a piece of masking tape, just so that you know where the hole is after you've washed and dried it. Again, if it comes to you felted by me, you don't have to wash it again. If you're purchasing it out of your local thrift store, getting it from your closet, your friend or family's closet, from a consignment shop, then yes, you are going to have to process that and wash and dry that before we get started. Go back and remark those holes. I just need you to know where they are so that we can cut around them. And if they're in an important spot, mend them a little bit and put an embellishment, a button, a flower, whatever, over them. And we'll get to that as we go along. I hope that that was good introductory information. Also, the beautiful ladies from the Southeastern Quilt and Textile Museum did accompany me on kind of a thrifting tour of Carrollton, and we came up with some beautiful sweaters, and we did film some information there. So I'm sure those will be put up, whether they're part of advertisement or part of these sessions, and I hope that that additional information will be helpful as well.